Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So the main event here is that we do have some new Season 2 Netflix Avatar casting information. We of course know who's playing Toph already, and we had a few like rumored ones that kind of came out beforehand. But now they're doing their first kind of batch of proper kind of casting announcements for the rest of the kind of Season 2 cast. So let's kind of go through this here. I will say straight away, I'm not familiar with any of these actors. I don't believe I've heard of any of them before. I don't tend to follow actors. My general thoughts on season 1 was that I think most of the casting ended up working out quite well, and the actors were not really the cause of any of the issues with season 1 of Netflix Avatar, and I trust that the casting is going to be just as good for season 2, that the success of the season will come down more to the writing quality and how they manage to adapt Book 2 Earth into this season 2, more so than anything the actors kind of really are going to do, because they're just kind of going to do what they have. If they don't have a good script, they can't do what they need to do. That's kind of my thoughts on things. So yes, apologies about any pronunciation stuff here. Like I said, I have never heard of these actors before, and I don't tend to overly focus on the actors either, in terms of like following them or anything like that. So we have Chin Han as Long Feng, Justin Chien as King Kuei, Amanda Zhou as Ju Di, Crystal Yu as Lady Beifong, Kelemete Misipeka as the Boulder, Hua Zhuande as Professor Zay, Lords Faberez as General Sung, and Rekha Sharma as Amita. So, going through this, of course, the first three, Long Feng, King Kuei, Ju Di, from the Bossing Say arc more towards the end of the book, makes complete sense. I don't think there's any way to do the book without having these characters involved. One of our big villains on the Earth Kingdom side of things, the king, the Earth King himself, of course, and Ju Di plays a significant role as well. I do wonder when it comes to casting, do they have a bunch of other people playing other Ju Dis, but this is like the main Ju Di, the one who eventually kind of gets replaced, and it's like, hey, why are you called Ju Di? Where's the our Ju Di type thing? Or are they going to maybe slightly alter that? But I think they kind of need that for the whole conspiracy arc, so that'll be one to keep an eye out for if maybe multiple actors are listed as doing Ju Di. So of course, they're going to spend time on this arc, but a lot of this maybe is about how many episodes are they in? How long is the Netflix Avatar Bossing Say arc going to be? Because in the show, it effectively starts from like 13, the drill, basically all the way up until the end. So it's just under kind of half of the season. Can they do the same here? Let's assume they have 8 episodes. Does that mean 4 for Bossing Say or 3 for Bossing Say? Or like, are we going to have the time even for that? A lot of questions about what gets cut, what doesn't, that sort of thing. The next two, so Lady Beifong and the Boulder, again, from the Blind Bandit, Toph's introduction episode, it seems like this kind of confirms that, okay, it doesn't seem like they're going to try and do anything crazy new or different with this introduction episode. We're still going to have the dynamic with her and her parents, and we're still doing Earth Rumble. I don't think any of us really expected them to change it, but it's a good sign here that they're kind of committing to that. So we're going to have the Boulder and I guess a bunch of other Earth Rumble characters, including probably some new ones based on what we had heard kind of, I think, before. And at the very least, her mother has been cast here, and I'm guessing we'll find out about the father casting information as well, because we have Poppy here, but we also need Lao is the idea. So that's all super exciting in terms of like the character side of the Toph episode, but also the action side of the Toph focused episode is nice to see. Then in terms of sort of, I suppose, getting us to Bossing Say and the arc, we have Professor Zay and also General Sung. So Professor Zay, of course, mainly we see him in the library. So does that mean like he's really only going to be in one episode? But at the very least, it confirms that that is probably what's happening here. We're not going to skip, I guess, going to the library, because that's his involvement in the show. If we don't go to the library, what are we doing? But the weird thing is that we've already met Wan Shi Tong in season 1, and they didn't really talk about the library then. Now, depending on what exactly they want to do, they can still make it work, and that, like, okay, in that situation, Wan Shi Tong happened to be in the spirit world. It doesn't mean he can be back. He can't be back in the physical world in his library when we need to go there. But it does just enough to make you kind of question in your head, wait, are they just going to do that episode as directly as we think they are, where we have to go into the Siwang Desert, find the library, we find the information and come out? Because what is required in Netflix Avatar is that, sure, we probably need to find out about the eclipse, of course, but at the same time, none of the characters know about the comet. The Fire Nation themselves only just find out about the timing of the comet right towards the end, and even they are not entirely sure about the exact timing just yet. So is this going to be where the gang, the heroes, also find out about it? And so we find out the major timer on the series, and also potentially the pathway to victory with the eclipse. That will be an interesting one, but it is an interesting point that, hey, they did some kind of weird stuff by introducing Wan Shi Tong in season 1 when they did. Does that change what's happening here, or is that just an early setup for the character? Hard to say. General Sung, obviously a change has happened here, as we can clearly see. General Sung is a male character in the animation, but clearly they're going to go for a female character here in the Netflix live action. General Sung, as far as we're aware, Council of 5 member, leading the kind of defense of the wall in the drill, is the kind of primary kind of place that we see that character. Is that what we're doing here in terms of the appearance of the character? We're maybe going to do the drill, or is it more like, oh, this just happens to be the first casting for, say, like a Council of 5 member, an Earth Kingdom general that we're really getting here? I'm assuming we'll still get some of the other characters as well, because that's, I think, a pretty substantial part of the Ba Sing Se arc, is kind of showing some of those key leadership positions in the Earth Kingdom getting taken out to set the stage for that kind of finale. It will be interesting to see what the end result of this actually is, in terms of like, hey, was it kind of a necessary change to make the character a woman in this version, or not? I can't see it mattering too much, just because I don't think the character is one of the more notable ones ultimately. And I think in canon, animation canon, all members of the Council of 5 are men, so I don't mind too much that the live action is just making the decision to be at least a little bit diverse on that side of things. So that should work out fine, I think, ultimately. And then last but not least, new character Amita. Obviously, there's nothing to speculate on. We have no context whatsoever about who this character is, what episode she's going to be involved in, and where this is going to align in terms of, like, is this a new character being fit into one of the episodes we're familiar with, or is this related to some sort of new plot that we don't know about in Netflix Avatar? Hard to say, because it could be basically just a character who appears in nearly any scene. If I was to put out a complete speculative guess right now, maybe this is a citizen of Ba Sing Se, and this is just one of the characters that they end up speaking to a lot, in that sort of a way. But like I said, complete guess, complete speculation. I don't actually know. But yes, I'm pretty sure this is confirmed to be a new character for Netflix Avatar. So nice to see them put this out. I don't know how regularly this is going to be, but there's clearly quite a lot of other casting information that we are going to need. There's still a bunch of other characters in relation to these episodes, especially like Earth Rumble characters and other generals that we definitely need to get. But so far so good. But like I said, my focus is never really on the casting too much, because I don't think there's too much to read into it. We will only really get too much of a sense, or really opinions, I think, starting to come out when we actually start to get like trailers, teases, when we get to see these characters in costume and we have more context for specifically their roles and that sort of thing. That's just my thoughts on the actors here. So it seems fine, but there's not much to super heavily talk about. Then let's give an update on the Journey of Aang crowdfunding campaign. So there's only a day and a couple of hours left on this. We are at over 600% funded. We're over 300,000. And in my last video, I was a little worried that like, oh, are we going to get to some of those kind of bigger numbers? It's maybe slowed down a little bit, but it definitely has increased. The numbers are definitely accelerating here as we get towards the end. And there's much more stuff now, a part of these pledges. So, it's pretty exciting, and my guess is that I think we're going to hit 350,000. We might hit the current big stretch goal of 375,000. There's maybe a chance for 400,000, but that I think could be a stretch. So at the moment, I'm pretty happy that I'm mostly, I think, in the ballpark of what I predicted at the start in terms of calling it correctly, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, current stretch goals that we have to meet in about about 17,000. We're going to get the new boss. I think regardless of what happens, they're going to give this to us because they effectively promised this already. This is going to be the basically hard mode version of the game. Final boss is Nightmare Ozai from Nightmares and Daydreams. Sort of the hard counterpoint to what I think is going to be the family friendly easy mode boss Melon Lord. With the idea mostly being that the numbers are just altered, where I'm guessing the Toph Melon Lord will probably be like maybe 8s across the board. This is probably going to have to be about 15s across the board, so that's a pretty high number, but we'll see what exactly they do. So I think we're definitely going to get this one, no problem. The final one they've listed, there might be another stretch goal for tomorrow, we don't really know. Sozin's Comet Miniature, only for the deluxe edition, but I think most people backing this are getting the deluxe edition. It's basically just a fancier marker token for the Sozin's Comet track with a plastic miniature. Again, there's going to be the usual issue of people will want it painted. Can they offer that? And given how many miniatures are now involved as part of the campaign as add-ons, it's beginning to get a little bit complicated after the initial Appa miniature. So we'll get into that. In terms of stuff that we've unlocked over the last few days, this is a kind of significant one. All standard and deluxe backers are going to get a poster of the Four Nations map and the fancy art that they have. So very, very happy with this. I would say, though, if their plan is just to release the art on its own, I'm maybe not the biggest fan of that. I understand taking off all the board game markings, but I would absolutely keep all of the place name listings on the map. I think that makes it stand out a little bit more, but I can maybe see some people arguing that they don't want that, but that's just my thoughts on it. I like that we're getting the poster, though. It's cool. Foil technique card. So at this point, pretty much every sort of card in this set has a bit of foil stuff to it. This is a sort of significant one we got as well. The challenge cards are now going to be bigger, and they're going to have flavor text for them, which I think is a nice touch. Given that these are the main challenges for the game, I think it makes sense that the cards are going to be a little bit more substantial overall. So that's good. So yeah, that's all these stretch goals. But there's been a ton of add-ons that they've added to give you some extra stuff that you can have. And this is significant because there's now another kind of backing option. If you want to, you can go for the deluxe all-in, which includes, of course, you're getting the deluxe version, but you are choosing to be like, yeah, I want everything you're offering, and you're getting all of this stuff for a discounted price, but it is still a quite expensive pledge here. It's quite a lot more expensive than, as you can see here, 80 for the deluxe edition, 190 for deluxe all-in. So what are you actually getting there? So as we've covered before, some of this stuff we're getting some of already. This, I'm guessing if you haven't followed, it is including like the price of the coin. So that's that. You get the Bender expansion anyway. They're giving you a patch. You're getting the card sleeves. You're getting the adventure mat. Premium insert is the first completely new thing that they've added over the last few days. This is effectively, I think, kind of plastic style inserts for the box, just so you can organize your game easier once you have it kind of properly opened and set up. Just to make the setup time easier and like putting it away easier. It's $35 on its own. Obviously, you're getting a slight discount on that if you get everything. It seems cool enough because it's got Avatar stuff all over it, but I would also say it's a somewhat expensive add-on for, do you really need to cut down on those like 2-3 minutes that much, that sort of thing. You're getting the premium drawstring bag, which to me feels a little bit of a random add-on since this game already has a bag added in for like all sets. But the big things are definitely the Southern Air Temple Dice Tower, which I covered in my last video. So that's a kind of miniature that they're adding in. But then this as well, a set of iconic location miniatures. So you can see here what they have here is the Eastern Air Temple, Fire Nation Palace, Northern Water Tribe Palace, the statue of Avatar Kyoshi on Kyoshi Island, and Ba Sing Se. So these are going to be pretty small-ish miniatures, obviously, that I guess are going to come unpainted, and you can put them out as sort of 3D things for the map. I think they're nice, but I don't, at least from my pledge, I feel like I don't want to just have all these extra stuff added in. I think a lot of the stuff I don't necessarily want. So I think I'm pretty fine with what I have, which is the deluxe version with the card sleeves added in, which are just to, keep the cards safe, playing the game, shuffling the cards. I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of the extra stuff does feel like this is really getting into the kind of superfluous tier of just like, you're backing this and you just want a bunch of Avatar stuff type thing. I'm not sure what else they can really add on at this point, given that they're already potentially giving you another miniature here. I can see them maybe having a 400,000 goal that they add in, kind of given that it's looking like we're probably going to hit these two. But it probably has to be something a little bit more substantial, something for everyone, rather than just, here's another item you can add on to your order. So it's doing super well, and after a little bit of a slow period, I'm super happy to see that they're really kind of accelerating quite well here. Obviously, once the campaign ends, we're still like, 11 months, nearly a year away from when they're actually planning to get the stuff out there. There's still a lot of questions that like the community needs to answer in terms of what are the finalized way we want a lot of this stuff done. There's some characters that we need to vote on, so it's not that the campaign like just completely comes to a halt the second the campaign ends. There's still some decisions that we have to make, but pretty happy with how it's going. Final news topic for today, I will switch to this and this. This is the mobile game Nickelodeon Card Clash, which came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I was meant to talk about this multiple times in multiple videos, but I completely forgot it existed multiple times in a row. So I finally got around to actually downloading it, playing it a little bit to be able to talk about it in a video. So the reason this is Avatar related, even though it's more of a general Nickelodeon game, is because it is a digital card game, but one of the 3 main sets in the game at launch is Avatar. So it is SpongeBob, it is TMNT, and it is Avatar. So if you look here, you could see here that that's what they're very much going for across all the bundles. It's effectively, when you start off the game, you get a starter deck effectively for one of these shows, and then you can choose to use the stuff you earn in game, buy stuff to get cards from the other stuff or your own deck. If we look at the Avatar pack, you can see here as we run through the cards that, hey, there's some nice new art that they have in this game that they're using for the cards. Now, it's obviously all referencing stuff from the show, but it is very clearly new art, which I do very much appreciate. I do think, what I would say is that I don't think the game is super interesting because it is very much a big numbers win. I don't see that there's that much strategy, especially because one of the main mechanics in this game is that you have to use your materials to level up your cards. So this say this Boomy here is a 7/6, but it's level 1. So you're going to eventually over time level this up and get to the point where it is like a 15, 14 or something like that. And it just feels a little bit like, oh, that makes me far less interested in the game. Like I don't want my game pieces to be things that I have to put tons of time in to finally get to the point where they're good. In a card game especially, I think it's just like, hey, if I pull the card, the thing I should be looking for is the second copy of the card to get a playset or something like that. Not that I need to pull copies of the cards to get the card at its fighting best, basically. But again, visually, there's some cool stuff here. You know, Kyoshi Lava Bending is cool. There's Melon Lord, like 15-8. Obviously, you can tell the numbers are kind of all over the place here. And it's not a super specific, I would say, Avatar focus game. Like, that's really cool. Like, Painted Lady Katara getting a card. Pip and Paddle Obstacopolis. I'm pretty sure every time I see this it's spelled differently, but anyway, that's probably the actual finalized official spelling. It's cool. I just don't see myself putting that much time into this overall. To quickly show some gameplay here, because the game is super basic. You can see here there is a bit of a kind of pathway. You kind of follow the series going through this. So let's say we fight Suki here. With my deck, they gave me this username. I have no idea where it comes from. I haven't even bothered to do anything kind of make my account fancy or anything like that. So here's how the game works. I have 30 health. The opponent has 25 health. I think on the higher level enemies it's slightly higher as well. We play through rounds effectively where we choose cards, combo our cards together in our hands, compare, and this determines basically how much damage goes through to our health. We're trying to defeat what the other player puts out with the excess damage going against your kind of life points effectively. You have champion cards, action cards, and also power cards. And the idea fundamentally is that you're meant to link your champion or character cards together with your action cards to make a combo card, which is even better, and use the combo cards to fight. So you can see here the Momo combined with training gives you Momo's attuned parry. And I don't super understand exactly the way these work together, because the numbers do feel a little random at times, where it goes from like 14 plus 4 and we get to a 21 somehow. If we do say like Momo, but then we switch the training to block, you can sort of see here that, okay, I get it's a defensive card, so our attack doesn't go up quite very much, but the defense goes up by a bit more. And you can sort of see similarly if we choose Hippo and block gives you this, Hippo and training gives you this, and the numbers are a little all over the place, where in this case it's like 7 plus 4 and we only get a 6. Not really sure why that is. Katara and block gives me this, Katara and training gives me this. So if we do, say, this, 15, 17, what's Suki going to play? This, we do 15, which is going to be enough to take out the 4 health, and we can, defend well against that basic attack. And we do damage that way. Let's go Momo here with Jump Kick for 23. This should be more than enough. And yeah, this is going to do tons of damage. So this should just about win us the game, I think. Yeah. And that's it. It does just feel like big numbers go burr kind of type thing, where there's not too much strategy. You can sort of see the idea of like you're meant to research the combos, upgrade your cards, as you can see there. If you want to put the time in, I think there's probably some fun to be had, but I'm even myself as someone who really likes card games, this just feels a little outside of the Avatar art. So it's something like if Avatar gets a lot more cards, I might check in on it, but I'm not super enthused about what we have so far. So like I said, there's my thoughts on all the news for this video. So what are your thoughts on some of the casting info we just got for Netflix Avatar, how the Journey of Aang crowdfunding is doing, and do you have any interest in Nickelodeon Card Clash because there's an Avatar set in it? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.